बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। जी, आज हम ए लेवल्स के क्वाड्रेटिक्स में जो कॉन्सेप्ट हम डिस्कस करेंगे वो है कंप्लीटिंग स्क्वायर मेथड। कि अगर कोई यानी एक्सप्रेशन दिया हो तो उसको स्क्वायर कंप्लीट करके किस तरह से लिखना चाहिए वो हम सीखेंगे। तो ये हम चलते हैं बोर्ड की तरफ। तो यहाँ पे जो है ये देखें, सबसे पहले ये कि कंप्लीटेड स्क्वायर का क्या मतलब होता है। तो अगर ये है a+b होल स्क्वायर, ये मैं थोड़ा सा इसको कम कर दूं थिकनेस इसकी। तो a+b होल स्क्वायर का मतलब होता है a² + 2ab + b²। अब अगर इन टर्म्स को आपस में रिलेट करें तो उसमें आप ये देखेंगे कि ये ना सेंटर में दो ये जो अननोन हैं a और b, तो इनमें से एक का स्क्वायर इस तरफ है और दूसरे का स्क्वायर इस तरफ है और उसके साथ ये 2 है। यानी ये मैं इसको यहाँ लिखता हूँ 2ab। तो यहाँ से क्या करें कि ये 2 को छोड़ दें साथ से, तो क्या बचेगा ab। तो उनमें से जो ये दो टर्म्स बची, एक का स्क्वायर इस तरफ और दूसरे का स्क्वायर इस तरफ होगा। दूसरे लफ्ज़ों में आप ये समझें कि ये जिसका स्क्वायर इस तरफ है, ये जैसे a का स्क्वायर है इस तरफ, तो a को अगर छोड़ दें, बीच में से जो बच जाए उसको 2 से डिवाइड करें तो जो वैल्यू बचे b, तो इसका मतलब है कि b का स्क्वायर दूसरी तरफ ऐड हुआ है। इसको किसी भी तरीके से आप अपने लिए कोई इसकी जस्टिफिकेशन आप ख़ुद भी बना सकते हैं। तो अब अगर ये ऐसे हो कि कंप्लीट द स्क्वायर इस तरह से अगर गिवन है कि a² + 2ab इसको स्क्वायर कंप्लीट करना है, तो आप यहाँ से a का स्क्वायर जिस चीज़ का यहाँ पे स्क्वायर है उस वैल्यू को यहाँ से छोड़ दें। तो a को छोड़ दें, 2b बच गया, उसको 2 से जब डिवाइड करेंगे तो b का स्क्वायर ऐड होगा। तो अब ये बन जाएगा a+b होल स्क्वायर। तो इसका मतलब है कि जब भी ऐसा कोई एक्सप्रेशन गिवन हो तो उसमें ये जो बीच वाली टर्म है इससे हमने स्क्वायर को कंप्लीट करना है। अच्छा, ये तो था कि सिर्फ ये मेथड इसका क्या है स्क्वायर कंप्लीट करने का, लेकिन हमें कुछ और भी फॉर्मेलिटीज़ को कंसिडर करना पड़ता है। मसलन अगर ये ऐसे दिया हो कि लेट p = a² + 2ab, तो अब अगर p की ये वैल्यू है, इसका स्क्वायर कंप्लीट करना है, तो दैट वैल्यू शुड नॉट चेंज। उसके जो ओवरऑल जितने उसकी वैल्यू है वो उतनी ही रहनी चाहिए। तो ये a² + 2ab, तो यहाँ से अगर आप b² को ऐड करेंगे तो सब्ट्रैक्ट भी करना पड़ेगा ताकि इसका बैलेंस जो है, जैसे जितनी उसकी वैल्यू पहले थी उतनी ही बाद में भी रहे। हम अपनी तरफ से कुछ ऐड या सब्ट्रैक्ट नहीं कर सकते। तो फिर ये बन जाएगा a+b होल स्क्वायर, और यहाँ से ये देखें, यहाँ से यहाँ तक ये a+b होल स्क्वायर हो गया, और ये जो है ना b का स्क्वायर यहाँ पे माइनस हो जाएगा। तो दिस विल बी द फाइनल एक्सप्रेशन। दिस एक्सप्रेशन इज इक्वलेंट टू दिस एक्सप्रेशन इन कंप्लीटेड स्क्वायर फॉर्म। ये जो एक्सप्रेशन था इसकी जो वैल्यू है वही वैल्यू इसकी होगी। फ़र्क ये है कि ये स्क्वायर कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ, यहाँ पे हमने कंप्लीटेड स्क्वायर की फॉर्म में इसको लिखा है। तो इसका मतलब है जब भी आप ऐसा करेंगे तो जो वैल्यू ऐड करेंगे उतनी ही वैल्यू उसमें से सब्ट्रैक्ट भी करनी पड़ेगी। तो अब ये हम इसको जिस तरीके से हमें ज़रूरत पड़ेगी वो हम देखते हैं कि अब ये समझें कि अगर ये है कि y इज़ इक्वल टू एक्स स्क्वायर प्लस 6x, तो इसका ये है कि स्क्वायर कंप्लीट करना है आपने, तो क्या करेंगे कि तरीका एक ही होता है, सिर्फ वैल्यूज़ डिफरेंट हो जाती हैं। तो यहाँ पे जैसे इधर ए का जो ये ए का स्क्वायर था तो ए छोड़ दिया हमने, तो यहाँ पे एक्स का स्क्वायर है तो एक्स को छोड़ें, बाकी क्या बच गया आपके पास 6। तो 6 को 2 से डिवाइड करें तो 3, इसका मतलब है 3 स्क्वायर विल बी एडेड एंड सब्ट्रैक्टेड। तो एक्स स्क्वायर प्लस 6x प्लस 3 स्क्वायर और माइनस 3 स्क्वायर, ये बिल्कुल ऐसे ही जैसे यहाँ पे हमने प्लस बी स्क्वायर और माइनस बी स्क्वायर किया था। तो यहाँ पे प्लस 3 स्क्वायर एंड माइनस 3 स्क्वायर, तो ये जो चीज़ है ये स्क्वायर कंप्लीट हो गया। इसको अभी लिखना कैसे आपने कि यहाँ से आपको x मिल गया, यहाँ से 3 मिल गया, इसका स्क्वायर हो गया। अगर ये वाली जो मिडिल टर्म जो है उसका जो भी साइन होगा वो साइन आपने यहाँ लगाना है। अब हम एक और इसकी एग्ज़ाम्पल देखते हैं। नेक्स्ट इसकी एग्ज़ाम्पल जो है, अगर ये बीच वाली वैल्यू नेगेटिव है तो फिर वो कैसे होगा। मसलन एक्स स्क्वायर प्लस 14x अगर है, तो अब अगर स्क्वायर कंप्लीट करना है तो बहुत आसान है अभी कि x को छोड़ दें, 14 बच गया, तो 14 का को हाफ करें, 14 डिवाइडेड बाय 2 7, तो 7 का स्क्वायर ऐड और सब्ट्रैक्ट करना है। तो ये आ जाएगा y इज़ इक्वल टू एक्स स्क्वायर प्लस 14x प्लस 7 स्क्वायर माइनस 7 स्क्वायर। तो यहाँ से फिर वही चीज़ कि यहाँ तक ये स्क्वायर कंप्लीट हो गया, वो इस तरह से कि ये x जो है वो इधर आ गया, इधर से 7 आ जाएगा इसका होल स्क्वायर, और ये पॉजिटिव साइन है तो यहाँ पे पॉजिटिव आ गया। अब अगर हम इसको y इज़ इक्वल टू एक्स स्क्वायर माइनस 14x अगर हो तो सारी वर्किंग उसी तरह रहेगी, सिर्फ ये बीच में नेगेटिव साइन आ गया, तो प्लस 7 स्क्वायर माइनस 7 स्क्वायर, तो ये बन जाएगा x माइनस 7 होल स्क्वायर। यानी जब ये नेगेटिव है तो ये नेगेटिव हो जाएगा। अच्छा, यहाँ पे ये माइनस 49 और यहाँ भी माइनस 49। आप देखें दोनों में कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ा, सब वैल्यूज़ बिल्कुल एक जैसी हैं, सिर्फ जो है ये जो पॉजिटिव था तो यहाँ पॉजिटिव आ गया, यहाँ नेगेटिव था तो यहाँ पे नेगेटिव आ गया। तो ये वो डिपेंड करता है, जो साइन यहाँ पे होगा वो साइन आपने लेना है, और जो यहाँ पे दो नंबर्स जिनके ऊपर स्क्वायर्स हैं वो दोनों नंबर यहाँ पे आ जाएंगे। अब यहाँ हमने जो एग्ज़ाम्पल्स अभी ली उसमें ये दो दो टर्म्स थी। अब अगर 3 टर्म्स इसमें हों, लाइक अच्छा, बल्कि उससे पहले हम ऐसे करते हैं कि इफ़ देयर इज़ एन ऑड नंबर हियर लाइक 9x, तो पहले अभी जो दो एग्जांपल्स में जो यहाँ नंबर था वो तो इजीली 2 से डिवाइड हो जाता था क्योंकि इवन नंबर थे। नाउ इफ़ देयर इज़ एन ऑड नंबर, रूल डज नॉट चेंज, रूल वही रहेगा कि आपने क्या करना है कि ये जो 9 है, 9 को 2 से डिवाइड करेंगे आप, तो इसको 9/2 बेशक लिखा रहने दें, तो दैट विल बी 9/2 होल स्क्वायर माइनस 9/2 होल स्क्वायर। देखें, जब 7 ने ऐड किया तो 7 ही माइनस करेंगे, जब ये यहाँ पे 3 का स्क्वायर ऐड किया तो 3 का स्क्वायर ही माइनस करेंगे। तो अब यहाँ अगर 9/2 का स्क्वायर ऐड कर रहे हैं तो 9/2 का ही स्क्वायर जो है यहाँ से माइनस भी करेंगे, तो ये फिर आ जाएगा y इज़ इक्वल टू, फिर उसी तरह से सेम ये जो है यहाँ से x आ गया, यहाँ से ये 9/2 आ गया, इसका होल स्क्वायर हो गया। ये पॉजिटिव है तो यहाँ पे पॉजिटिव साइन आ जाएगा, माइनस इसको अगर हम स्क्वायर सिंप्लीफाई करके लिखें तो दैट विल बी 81/4। सो दिस इज द कंप्लीटेड स्क्वायर फॉर्म ऑफ x स्क्वायर प्लस 9x। ओके, अब हम जो है एक और जो चीज़ यहाँ पे कि अगर ये ऐसे हो कि x स्क्वायर प्लस लेट्स से 12x और प्लस 5 अगर है, अब क्या करेंगे, हमने जो टेक्निक सीखी है उसी पे फोकस करेंगे, यानी हमने सिर्फ इन दोनों को इन्वॉल्व करना है स्क्वायर कंप्लीट करने में। 5 जैसे लिखा है वैसे ही इनिशियली वैसे ही उसको लिखा रहने दें। तो दिस विल बी x स्क्वायर प्लस 12x। नाउ 12 divided by 2, 6. That means 6 square is added and subtracted. This 5 has nothing to do with this process of completing square. So for these three terms, again it will be x square, x will be taken from here and 6 from here, and this positive sign from here, that is x plus 6 whole square. Now this negative 6 square means minus 36 plus 5. Now we can simplify these two terms, so it will be x plus 6 whole square minus 31. So if there is a value along with these two terms, you are not supposed to do anything with this value, but at the end you can simplify with the simplified form of this number. उसके साथ इसको सिंप्लीफाई करके एक सिंगल नंबर के तौर पे इसको आप लिख सकते हैं। इसका मतलब है कि if you expand this expression, finally you will obtain the same thing, same values like as it was initially. So this is the way how to find the completed square form with all these three terms. Let's do one more example about this concept, that is x square minus, this time let's take an odd number here, so minus, let's say once again, let's say 5. Okay, now it will be x square minus 11x. Now 11/2, when you divide this term by 2, you will obtain 11/2. Divide by 2 and add the square, and at the same time subtract the square. This 5 will remain as it is. Now from here, same rule, x from here, those two values having squares on them, this one and this one, x from here and 11/2 from the other side, and this negative sign from the middle term. This is the completed square form. And now 11/2 square means 121/4 minus 5. So it will be x minus 11/2 whole square minus, when you take LCM, it will be 141/4. That is the final answer. of this type. Now, so far we have discussed two types to complete square. This is one type in which x square plus 6x, there is no other constant number along with it. These are 2 or 3 examples of it. And then from here, we have considered another form in which there is another number along with it. So if this number is along with, then it will be done this way. Same thing is here. Now we will discuss one more type, that is, if there is a coefficient with x square plus, let's say, 30x plus let's take 15. Now, as you know that we need these two terms to complete the square. So it is not necessary to involve this term in the process of completing square. So we take this 2 common only from these two terms. That will be x square plus 15x plus 15. We don't involve this 15 in this process. It is not necessary. Sometimes people do that way, that they take common this number common from all the 3 terms, but it is not needed to involve this. So why did we take this 2 as a common factor? This common factor. What was the reason? Actually, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In these 6 examples, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. In all these 6 examples, what basic technique we have learned, in that technique, there is no coefficient with x square. We have learned to complete the square when there is no coefficient with x square. You can see that there is none of these has a coefficient along with it. So in order to apply same technique what we have learned, there is no room for this 2 here. So in order to think about anything new, what we can do, that we can separate this 2 so that it gets converted into the form which we know already. So x square plus 15. Now we will focus only on this bracket to complete the square. We will not think about this 2 or this 15 initially until we complete this square. So just focus on these 2 terms, that what technique you have learned to complete the square, just focus on that, and it will be x square plus 15x. Now we leave this value x from here, and 15 is divided by 2. We write it 15 upon 2 square, and minus 15 upon 2 square. Everything is inside this bracket in order to keep it separate from this 15 and 2. Now 2 is as it is. So these 3 terms complete the square, x from here and 15 upon 2 from here, whole square. This is plus, so it will be plus 15 upon 2 minus this 15 upon 2 is 225 upon 4 plus 15. Okay, now this is a very common mistake. Many students make that mistake that when you remove this bracket, then this 2 has to be multiplied by this bracket as well as this value. Actually, these are two terms in the bracket. This is one term, this completely square, that is one term, and this is another term. So this 2 outside the bracket is to be multiplied by the two both of the terms. Sometimes some of the students make this mistake that what they do, they multiply by this bracket this way, and for some reason they forget to multiply this 2 with this value. So be careful about it, that you have to multiply by this value as well. Now, since this 2 is multiplied by both, so there is this bracket is not needed anymore. So plus 15. Now it will be 2 times x plus 15 upon 2. Now this 2 will be simplified with this 4. So that will be 225 upon 2 plus 15. Okay, now it will be 2 times x plus 15 upon 2 whole square minus, when we take LCM, this will be 30. Minus 225 plus 30, that will be minus 195 upon 2. I think that will be the value. So this is the way to complete a square when there is a coefficient along with x square. If there is no coefficient, you straight away find half of this value and continue. But if there is a coefficient like this, then it will be done this way. Okay, now if I write almost same thing, but I change this to, if it is like y is equal to 3x square plus 30x plus 11, let's say. Now we take this 3 as a common factor from these two terms. So it will be x square plus 10x plus 11. Let it be away from this bracket. So 3x square plus 10x. Dividing 10 by 2, we obtain 5 square minus 5 square plus 11. Now it will be 3 times x plus 10 whole square minus 25. These three terms are included in this square, whole square, and negative 5 square is 25 plus 11. Now once again, these are two terms inside the bracket, this one and this one. So this 3 will be multiplied by both of the term, x plus 10 whole square minus 75 plus 11. So now it will be at 3 times x plus 10 whole square minus 65, I hope, 64. So this is the way to complete the square when there is a constant number along with it. Okay, now we have to learn at least one more technique, that if question is like 4x square plus 12x plus 15. Now, I think most of the times this type of question is given in the examination so that they ask you to complete the square and express in the form of ax plus b whole square plus c. They ask you to express in this form. Okay, now I make another change here that instead of plus, let's use negative sign here. Now, look at the difference between these two expressions. In these two examples, this 3 or this 2, these are not perfect squares. If there is a coefficient and it is a perfect square, then the way of completing square will be slightly different. You can complete the square as you had been doing earlier, but it is better to consider the perfect square along with x square. If there is a perfect square like this 4, then recall that expression that a square plus 2a from here and b from the other side and the square of b here. So if this is a perfect square, then include it inside along with x inside the square 2x whole square. Now this whole value will be considered as this a minus 2. I write it here. I will erase it. Minus 2ab plus b square. Let's compare with it. This is a square, then this is 2a. A will be replaced by 2x. 2a, then there is some other value against b. Now what that value should be? Look, we have to justify this 12 here in the split it in three terms. Now one of them is 2, the other one is 2x. From here we come to know that this is 2x. Now total that is 4x. Now what should be written here so that this complete value becomes 12x? So that obviously that must be 3. Now you can see that 2 2s are 4, 4 3s are 12x. Then if this is b, then b square has to be here. So this square will be written here, 3 square added and subtracted along with this 15. Okay, now I erase this part. Okay. Sure. So now you can see that this will be 2x, complete square is this, so it will be written completely here, minus sign, negative sign from here, and 3 from here, this square, that is whole square, minus 9 plus 15, so it becomes 2x minus 3 whole square plus 6, because minus 9 plus 15, that will become plus 6. So this way you can complete the square when a perfect square is given along with this x square. I do another example of the similar type so that it becomes more clearer. So the next one, if y is equal to, let's say, 9x square minus 30x minus 2. So now it will be, once again, this is perfect square. Okay, one thing I forgot to explain, that when it is given in the question that express in this form, now you have to compare this expression with that form where it is ax plus b whole square plus c. Then a is equal to 2, b is equal to minus 3, and c is equal to 6. You can see here, if it is asked that ax minus b whole square plus c, then value of b you can write as plus 3. But now this is positive, this is negative, so you have to replace this 3 by b, then value of b is minus 3. So this way you have to give the values of a, b and c. Now, if similar type of question is there and you are asked to express in this form, what is the difference? Previously it was ax plus b whole square. Now I have written it ax minus b whole square plus c. So once again, first of all, you will look at this number, and if you find that it is a perfect square, then include it inside the bracket. Minus 2a, then what the value of b should be here, so that this 30 is justified. 3 2s are 6. X is there. Now 6 5s are 30. Then there must be 5 here. And along with it, it will be 5 square will be added and subtracted. This 2 will be unchanged. Then 3x minus from here, and 5 from here, 5 whole square minus 27. So that is minus 25 and minus 2, that is minus 27. This time a is equal to 3, b is not equal to minus 5, but it will be plus 5 because already negative sign is given there, and c is equal to minus 27. So these are the values of a, b and c. So this is the way to complete the squares. I have tried to explain almost all the types where you can use the slight differences in the techniques when there is a slight difference in the expression. Now, mainly three types of expressions we have seen here. One, that where there is no coefficient along with x square. Second, in which there is a coefficient along with x square, but it is not a perfect square. And third, there is a coefficient with x square, but it is a perfect square. So these three types are there, and we have used three different techniques to find their completed square. Now we have to relate this perfect square with the vertex of a graph or a stationary point of the graph. Look, initially we have already learned in the previous videos that when there is a stationary point, if you are given with a stationary point, let's say 3 minus 5, then its graph will be 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus 5. So it will be something like this, that x coordinate is 3 and y coordinate is minus 5, and its expression for equation that will be x minus 3 opposite sign with x component, and y will go with the same sign. So this is the equation for this quadratic curve. So, and if you remember, we have already discussed that if there is almost same expression, but it is like 2 times x minus 3 whole square minus 5, then still the stationary point remains same. There is no change in stationary point. What difference will this 2 make? It will make only a difference that, uh, let me enlarge it. The only difference which we can observe here, that it will be compressed inside in a way that the stationary point will not change. The stationary point will remain unchanged. This equation of this one will be 2 times x minus 3 whole square minus 5, and equation of this one will be y is equal to x minus 3 whole square minus 5. So that is the difference you can see. This is what we have already learned in the previous videos. Now, if we relate it with this concept of completing square, then let's start it from the beginning. Okay. If you are given with this expression and just a minute. Okay. Now I did not write this 9 here. Acha. What will we do now, that if you are given with this expression and you are asked to find coordinates of stationary point, find coordinates of stationary points, then what will you do? This is the working. What will you do for to find the coordinates of stationary point? No, sorry, not that. That is not included in it. This one is not included. It will be this much. This is what you have to do in order to find the coordinates of stationary point. When you obtain this expression, x plus 3 whole square minus 9, then what is the stationary point? X coordinate with opposite sign from here and y coordinate with the same sign from here. Minus 3 minus 9 is the stationary point this way, minus 3, and this will be minus 9. So that means what we were learning in this video from the beginning, to complete the square, unknowingly we were actually finding this coordinates of stationary point. Now, in this expression, when you are given with this expression, this one, let me change the color. When you are given with this expression, then stationary point is -7 and -49 from here, 7 and 49. From this one, stationary point, what is stationary point now? That is 7 and -49. For this one, in this case, stationary point is -9 upon 2 and -81 upon 4. You can change it into decimals as well. Here, the stationary point is -6 -31. So that means whatever we were doing to complete the square, indirectly we were finding the coordinates of stationary point. Now, one more thing what we have to learn, that is if x square is negative, like y is equal to 13 plus 6x minus x square. What will we do now? Let's write it in the descending order. Then whenever x is negative, take it common. X square minus 6x. Again, there is no need to involve this 13 in this process. 13 will remain here. So leave the negative sign here. That will be x square minus 6x plus 3 square minus 3 square. I think I don't need to explain all these steps now in detail because we were doing the same thing initially. X minus 3, sorry. So that is x minus 3 whole square minus 9 plus 13. So it will be negative sign. Once again, when you remove this bracket, this negative will be for both of these terms. So it will be x minus 3 whole square plus 9 plus 13. So usually what we do, that we write positive value first and then the negative one, then minus x minus 3 whole square. Then stationary point is 22, sorry, not 22, but x coordinate is to be written first. So it will be 322. Now, in this case, stationary point is maximum. Stationary point is maximum. What is the reason? Because there is a negative sign outside this square. Or in the beginning, you can see that x square was negative. For that reason, stationary point is maximum. And all the other examples what we have done in this lesson, all the other stationary points are minimum, because in all of them the term x square was positive. So that is the difference you have to keep in mind for negative sign. And if there is any coefficient or any other change in this expression, then you have to follow the same things what we have done for positive x square. Now, only one thing, that negative sign, you have to include in it. So that is, I think, completed, in which we have learned that what is a completing square method, how is it related to stationary point, why it is important to learn completing square method, that actually we find the coordinates of stationary point by using completing square method. And if x square is positive, then stationary point is minimum, and if x square is negative, the stationary point is maximum. So this is what we have concluded from the today's video. So in the next one, we will continue with the other concepts required in quadratics of AS level, in which discriminant is there, and then inequalities and finding roots. Quadratic factorization, inshallah, I will make another video on quadratic factorization, because many times I have observed that the students have problem to factorize. Not a problem as such, but they take more time. So I will try to explain in a shortcut way. So please watch that video when it will come about factorization of quadratic expression. I hope that you will find a difference. Thank you. That's all for today. So we will meet in the next video with a new concept about AS level. So that's over. Allah Hafiz.